It's Patio Side Chats with Fernando Martinez from Chaparral Pavers with tips and advice on landscaping and gardening. Here's Fernando Martinez.
Well, hello once again, and thank you for tuning in here and coming in today and spending a little time with me here. Today, I really kind of want to generally focus on the landscaping. I know we talk a lot about all the different aspects of landscape. We can go into quite a bit of detail on some of the products and projects and things that you would want to do. And so today I really want to kind of get an overall view of what really turns a yard from just liking a yard into loving your yard. And you know, I say it all the time, I love to come home.com. That's our website. And there's a real reason why we picked that. It wasn't just to be catchy and cute. It really, to me, it spoke to me because it says what we do as a business more than anything else. And I think when you do a radio show like this to kind of give back to the community, give the information out there. If you want to do the project yourself, by all means, you know, if you need help, we're here, other companies are here. And a lot of the stuff that we talk about goes across all the different trades. But when it comes to loving something versus liking something, I love to come home. If my job as a landscaper, as a paver installer, whatever it is to really welcome you home, make you really love to go to that property, which if you own it and that's your house, that's where you spend the majority of your time, your family's there. It's something that's really important and I think can really help people. I love helping people and getting that gratification of seeing that look on their face when it's finished, how happy they are. I know they're using it. So I wanted to kind of go over how you get that from like to love and why I love to come home is so near and dear to my heart because it's really what I want for our clients and I want for you. Whether you hire us or not, and you're just, you know, doing your own projects, I want you to be the happiest that you can with those products and do the things to be the best that they can be. If you're spending the time and energy and money and effort to get it all in there, why not have it be the best it can be? So kind of a broad topic today, but I want to really, and it's kind of oxymoron, it's all about the details. The finite details, all the little tiny decisions that are made along the way is where the magic is. Each little decision that you make in regards to your landscaping, in regards to the projects, don't seem very important at the time or by themselves. But if you add up, it's like I tell my guys when we're building a wall, let's say, and if they take a 4-foot level and they're off a little bit on the bubble. That's all right. Keep going. Then they're off a little bit on the bubble. Let's say you're a 16th of an inch off. Then you go the next 4 feet and you're another 16th inch off. Next 4 feet, next 4 feet. By the time you get 16 feet, you're actually an inch off. So those little increments, those tiny little decisions, those just getting it just a little bit more right, just a slightly bit better, at the end of the project, they all add up to one big thing. And to me, that's the difference between like and love. Take, for instance, your hardscape. You want a new patio. You could pour a blah, gray, concrete patio. No problem. It's going to be there. It's going to be a patio. It's going to be functional. Maybe you want to add a little color to it. That's going to make one slight difference. Maybe you want to put a stamping on it and color, or you want to diamond cut it, or you want to use something that's going to work and last and never crack, and you decide to go with pavers. That's why sometimes can you get all caught up in the minutia and all the little tiny decisions and get overwhelmed? Yes, of course, absolutely. This extreme goes either way, but you got to find that happy medium in there. And so for me, being a paver installer, I recommend pavers. They already have a color. They already have a style. They've already got a pattern. So just by saying the word pavers, you've already made several decisions, in my opinion, small decisions that make a huge difference in the long run to making your yard look really nice. So people, sometimes they'll get caught as, I don't know what color to choose. I don't know what pattern to choose on these pavers. I tell them, look, you've already chose pavers. You're already 3 steps in front, and I'm there to help, of course, but tie something in with the color of the house. If it doesn't match exactly right, don't do it. Contrast. Do a completely different color. You can do a nice, even if you have a tan colored house, you can do a charcoal paver. It looks beautiful. Or a dark brown, or match the trim or tie in the roof or whatever, but make sure you get it. And those decisions really make, so now you've picked pavers and then you went as far as to pick the color, you tied in something, you picked a nice pattern, or maybe you changed maybe a not so obvious pattern, or you picked a tumbled paver, something like that. All those little decisions will absolutely help you to love it instead of just like it, and get you to really want to come home and enjoy that project when it's finished. Because every time you walk on that back patio, I chose these tumbled pavers. I could have chosen a flat paver. It would have probably looked just as good, but that little detail is what's going to help you, and maybe nobody else, and who cares, are going to love it more than you would if you hadn't. Now, there's a lot of necessary evils, so to speak, in landscaping. One of them is drainage. Drainage absolutely has to be addressed ahead of time. The last thing you want is beautiful, gorgeous, and you chose the tumbled pavers and you're all happy, and then there's puddles, or the water has nowhere to go, or it's not draining correctly, or you're getting pooling at the base of it and at the grass level or something. Worst case scenario will be heading back towards the house. But drainage is key. Now, drains are just pipes. They're boxes. They usually have plastic grates. But again, down to the details. You can choose a decorative grate. You can get grates made out of cast iron. You can get grates made out of brass. They don't always have to have just those straight lines. You can get different patterns and designs on there. Again, another little finite detail, but it ends up making a difference. It adds up to that big change. Let's say you're putting in a fire pit. What type of fire pit is it going to be? What type of block is it going to be? What burner are you going to use? What media are you going to use in there? Lava rock is the most common, of course, and it's the least expensive. So let's say you build a block fire pit. That's going to look good, and that might be your style, rustic, what you want, and then you want to put lava rock down. Well, you can get 3/4 inch lava rock and just put it in there, and it's going to look good. But what if you wanted to do a couple lava boulders? What if you wanted to put in some polished lava stones? You want to add a little bit of fireglass in there, or you want the whole thing all cobalt blue fireglass. Those details change you liking that fire pit and being warm. It's still going to, no matter what you put on there on the top, it's going to be a warm, good, fire pit if it's installed correctly, obviously, and make sure there's plenty of heat coming out of it. But the finite details of what's in there that you're looking at when you're looking at the fire pit is going to really just make it that much more special. So think about all the little details of the decisions that you make and take them all one by one. And that's how you don't get overwhelmed with a project, is you just break it down into sections of the project, break it down to the different products, take one product at a time, and then look at the different aspects of that product. If it's pavers, think about the colors, think about whether you want it tumbled or non-tumbled, and what type of pattern you would want and why you would want that. And look it up online, look at pictures, have fun with it, really take your time with that decision. And don't always, a lot of times people will think, oh, you're the professional, you just decide. I don't want to decide. And that's, if that's your personality and you're okay with that, okay. And, and it can be done. Or maybe you've got other things that, you need to get done, work on. And I get it, because, you're busy, everyone's busy, and they just want things done. And you want it done right. But if you do have time and you want to take just a few minutes and a little extra, I think it can help change your experience from one and just make it a little sweeter, and it just, to me, I love pleasing people. I love going and thinking like, oh, what would this person want? And if I don't have the information or enough information to know what I think they would like, I think it's part of the reason for our success as a company, because it's super important to me that the client be involved in picking out the color, be involved in picking out the pattern and the shape, or do they like tumble, they not like tumble, is it rustic or not? And all those things will, at the end of the job, they'll see those things and go out. So it's hard to miss, and that's how I think really that's the secret of you'll love to come home, is because you've helped and been in that decision. Of course I'm able to make the decision, but it'd be my house over and over again. And, it'd be boring for me anyway. So, okay, what else? What about sounds? How does it sound when you go in your yard? You can just walk out there and ask yourself that. Listen for things. Is there traffic noises, neighbors talking, dogs barking, planes flying overhead? Are they nice, relaxing sounds? Do they make you nervous? It's a big part of how a yard feels is how it sounds. So, you can address those things. If you live out in the country and it's birds, and you hear really nice, or maybe the breeze in the trees, then great. You're going to have a neat experience. If you don't have that, that needs to be addressed. It's really thinking about everything as a whole and how it feels, and not forgetting any element of the yard. So, because you can do a really nice landscape, put a nice patio or some sod, sprinklers, plants, edging, bark, a couple boulders, and get it to look really nice. If you completely ignore how it sounds, you're not going to have that love experience like you could. Or it'll wear off faster. You get used to how things are. We all do. This human nature, I guess. And you get everything fixed up, and then you kind of forget how it looked before, and you just kind of assume it's always looked that way. And then it's like, so you're loving it for a few months and kind of wears off. But the more awesome you make it, the more finite the details are, the more that you add into it, the longer that love just goes and goes and goes. And the idea is that it never ends. And that, as you find things that appear like sounds, and I think that's pretty common, you're just looking at all the sights, everything's landscaping is very visual. And then it starts to wear off, and it's like, God, I really want it to sound better out here. What can you do? Of course, the most common thing would be to add a water feature. So then, even then, there's finite details within the water feature. What kind of water feature? How do you want it to look? How do you want it to sound? Really loud, roaring rapids? You want a babbling brook? You want just a little tiny, I've seen those little walls of flagstone, which is barely even coming off there. Which, those aren't my favorite, because for me, I'm about the sound, but I want the sound to be nice. And how you build a water feature, if you're building a custom one, they can be adjustable. There's adjustable pumps to where you can have it on a high speed, medium speed, low speed, and they're relatively they don't really cost a whole lot. So think about that. You can do simple ones with a bubbling urn. You can put rocks on there, or you can take an old fountain and you can revamp it. Fountains are probably my least favorite water features because they're frustrating over time. And that, to me, doing your homework and picking out things that are going to work and last for a really long time. That could be the advantage if you hire the right company about hiring it out, because hopefully they have a lot of experience and they've tried all the different things. They know it works, and you don't have to recreate the wheel and figure it out. In other words, if you go down to the hardware store, or you go to a nursery or something and you see a fountain and it's pretty, you take it home and it's running out of water every other day, and it's splashing everywhere, and it's hard to get to the pump, and then the pump goes out after 6-8 months, a year tops, and it's this little tiny pump, and you're trying to hook it up, or it's leaking and it's not level. Fountains can be very frustrating experiences. And so there's any number of ways to do the water features, but pick a way that's not going to be frustrating. Big bowls that hold a lot of water are the way to go. Make sure the pump's easy to get to, and make sure that you're going to have some control over how it sounds, so you don't just turn it on and you don't like how it sounds, and then you're stuck with it. So think about that. Also, what's another thing we could do for sounds is speakers. So if you like music, I don't know very many people who don't like music, But you can completely change the mood. And I think, they do studies about these things, how it affects humans and our brains. If we play relaxing, smooth music, it's going to help put you in that mood and relax you. And it will, kind of hide some of the other unwanted noises that could be there, traffic and dogs and whatnot. So think about really how it sounds and making all those, good decisions. So don't just, if you see a speaker at a box store, it looks like a rock, it says it's a speaker, and you just buy it and you put it out there. How does that speaker sound? Is it big enough to even sound like anything? Is it going to be all a bunch of trebly highs coming out of there, annoying sound? Even a piano can be annoying if it's all coming out of a tiny little speaker with a bunch of treble, no mid-range, no low bass or anything. So, and what style of music do you like could steer you towards a certain direction. You don't have to break the bank and do, these massive high-end systems, but you want to go somewhere in between what makes sense for you. If you're an audiophile and you love hi-fi music, or maybe you got a vinyl set up and you want to have something, outside that you can enjoy it in your landscaping, why not? Absolutely. If you go wine tasting and you go to some of these tasting rooms, they do a good job of setting them up. Take notes of things that make you feel like you're relaxed there. What is it about that place? Is it those in-ground speakers? What brand is that? Can you get those? Is it the water feature, the sound of that? Does that help relax you? Is it the fact that they have comfortable furniture? Comfortable furniture around and throughout the yard is huge. You can buy something that looks great, looks good online, you order it, you get it, you're not comfortable, doesn't have cushions, or, you don't want to sit there very long. So all those little decisions, all those little details, the color of the cushions seems like an insignificant choice, but it can make an impact. And again, they all add up to one big thing at the end. So I think another really biggie for me is privacy. I go around a backyard and I look all around and I say, okay, where is the problem areas where I don't feel private in my own backyard? Because if that's a feeling, that's something that you can't erase. That's nothing I can landscape out of a yard if you don't feel good in privacy there. So you can address privacy with landscaping and certain things, of course, and that's what we're talking about. And it shouldn't be an afterthought. And think about that when you're buying the house, because those things can be hard to change. So as you're buying your home and you're walking around, even if the yard isn't landscaped yet, think about privacy. How does it look? How does it feel? How are we going to address this? Think about sounds and noise. Go at different times of the day. I know my wife's really good about that. When we were looking for a home, she would think about all that stuff. We'd go in the day, go in the night. How's it sound? Where are the windows? Who's looking in there? If we were sitting in this living room, would I be comfortable? Can you see through the window? So, as you're pulling up to your front yard, which way does the house face? Is it south facing? Are you going to get west sun? Think about all those things. I think about the soil too. Where are we? Is this hard rock, heavy clay soil? Is it going to be good drainage, poor drainage? Are the water going to be coming back towards the house? Am I going to need to install retaining walls? Look at all these things and think about them. And then if you're already in there and you're having to deal with them, try to deal with them in the best way that you can. We didn't talk really about retaining walls, but that's another one. Do you just throw up a cheap wood retaining wall and then you're making everything else nice? Or are you picking a nice block? Do you want it to be masonry split block? Do you want to have a nice decorative tumbled 4 different sizes? What color is it? All those things really make a huge impact. And so that's why I wanted this show to be about today, because it can really take a nice landscape or something that you like, and you add up all those little finite details, and that's what turns it to love. And that is, again, speaks to my heart, because it's what I do for a living, and it's what I'm passionate about, and it's why our tagline is, "You'll love to come home." And our website, of course, is I Love to Come Home. chaparralpavers.com. Okay, we'll see you on the other side of the break, and we'll keep going.
You're listening to Patio Side Chats with Fernando Martinez from Chaparral Pavers on California's Central Coast. Here on 1240 AM and 99.5 FM, KSMA.
Chaparral Pavers. I love to come home.com. Imagine the flickering flames and warmth of a fire pit, soothing sounds of trickling water, decorative lighting, highlighting your landscape at dusk. Driveways and patios, not only functional, but a work of art. This is what Chaparral Pavers does for your landscape lifestyle. You'll love to come home. Chaparral Pavers. Visit us now at ilovetoComeHome.com.
If you're thinking about installing a new paver patio or paver driveway, check out Chaparral Pavers online at ilovetoComeHome.com. Serving the Central Coast since 2001, Chaparral Pavers will work with you to get it right and complete the job to your specifications, as customer service is king at Chaparral Pavers. Paver driveways are stylish and durable and guaranteed to never crack. If your old concrete driveway or entryway is a hazardous cracking mess, it's time to call Chaparral Pavers. Go to their website, ilovetoComeHome.com. You'll find all the information you need. Check out photographs of past installations and reviews from Central Coast residents who have used Chaparral Pavers. And don't forget, all installations are guaranteed for the life of your home. So check out Chaparral Pavers online at ilovetoComeHome.com. Chaparral Pavers, they'll make you love to come home. Now, back to Patio Side Chats with Fernando Martinez from Chaparral Pavers on KSMA.
And we're back. Okay, we are talking about why would you love to come home? I mean, that's our tagline is you'll love to come home. And as a business myself and what I run with my partner Jonathan is Chaparral Pavers, of course, and I'm sure you know that. But it's something that when those words come out of my mouth, I love to come home.com, it really makes it's like it's what I want to do more than any product, more than anything, more than any service. I want our clients to love to come home. And how you accomplish that, I just wanted to let you in on our secret, is all the finite details. Everything, all those little tiny decisions adding up to one big thing at the end. So don't take them lightly. And don't get overwhelmed by them either. Of course, you can go down the rabbit hole and it can be overwhelming. I get it. I've been there. And it can also be very rewarding when you find that happy medium between making enough of the decisions yourself to own it. It ends up being personalized to you. It's your taste. And as you walk through the yard and you see all those little decisions that you've made along the way, it's absolutely key. I think when I first started landscaping and I would working for other companies or hearing stories about other companies or listening to people about their experiences with other contractors. I used to work at nurseries and I would hear a lot of stories as people came in. I would get to know a lot of the other contractors. And the ones that they would basically tell the client to go back inside the house, I got this. We know what plants to plant. We know what colors to choose. We know what to do. I always told myself, I didn't get that. It never made sense to me. I thought, I'm not ever going to do a job like that. I want to know what the client wants. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what your style is. I want to know if you like one thing versus another thing. Who cares what I like? It's your house. Who cares what the guy at the store that you're buying the products from thinks? It's what you want. Don't let them talk you out of anything. I've had them try to tell me, oh, this is better or that's better and here's why and that's going to look this. No, I want what I want the way I want it because I have a goal in mind, and they're not there at the job site making all those little finite decisions with me. So they don't really know. They're looking at one thing. Their view is pigeonholed on their product. So if you go down, you're picking out tile or you're picking out pavers or you're picking out blocks or whatever it is, each one of those people might have a different opinion on what's best for you, but only you're going to know because you're putting all those things together as a whole. at your home. And even if someone is doing the job for you, and again, I know a lot of things we talk about here go across all the trades, be involved. Be involved, because at the end of the job, when that contractor goes away and goes to his house, there's a saying amongst contractors, looks good for my house, because you don't see it ever anymore. The customer, you are the one, or if you're doing the project yourself, you're going to be the one looking at it every day, day in, day out. So have fun with the small decisions. Be glad about the finite details. Don't be overwhelmed by them. Break them down, take them one piece at a time, and get through them one by one. And the end result is going to be loving it versus being okay with it and liking it. I promise you. Now let's talk about one final thing, lighting. Landscape lighting is one of the first things usually taken off of a higher end bid, because as the yards get expensive in these projects and you're trying to get everything done, it's easy to just say, hey, take lighting off. We don't need lighting. But let's say you've done that. Later on, you decide, you come home in the evening, it's dark, you're not really enjoying your landscaping, you're not loving your landscaping in the evening. Lighting is absolutely crucial, because the sun goes down and you can't see all that beautiful work and energy and effort and money and everything that's out there. And usually, most of us, a lot of us, come home from work in the evening. And that can actually be the most magical time in landscaping. When I love my yard the most, it's dusk. It's 100% dusk is the most magical time of the day, because the sun's going down. There's no harsh light in your eyes. The whole landscaping doesn't look all harsh. And as you know, I love photography. I dabble in photography, but when you're trying to take a picture, you want a nice, easy, beautiful, warm light. It's in the evening. It's not during the day. If you take a picture of a yard during the day, it's all bright, hot, and all blown out. It looks like that even when you're walking around out there. That's great. Hot summer day, whatever you're enjoying it, that's fine. But the most magical, that just easy time to be out there and really enjoyable is dusk. And landscape lighting is absolutely huge. There's a ton of finite details to be made there between fixtures and styles and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, we're out of time. Hope you enjoyed this show. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Catch us on our website, ilovetocomeHome.com.
This has been Patio Side Chats with Fernando Martinez from Chaparral Pavers. Go to ilovetocomeHome.com to find out more, or call 805-588-6917. And be sure and tune in next week at this same time for Patio Side Chats here on KSMA.